So, Ari, 2 hours last night on X, more than 2 hours, 40-minute false start there as they figured out the technical glitches. It seems, we were talking a lot about contrast over these last couple of weeks, the big raucous rallies for the Vice President of the United States, a message of positivity and hope. And then you listen to this live stream between Elon Musk and Donald Trump, and it does sound like we're back to American carnage, which is the country is a hellhole, only I can rescue you, going off on these wild tangents. A contrast the Harris campaign, as we saw there, is happy to have.
Yeah, it's a striking contrast. Sometimes what's happening in politics is just what's actually happening. There is a true contrast here, and with Biden exiting the race, the age gap now has completely flipped. And even if people are a little used to it going the other way, it's now going this way. And Twitter has a word limit. People know that. They exceeded the word limit. And it turns out if you're friends with the owner, he wants to host you. And I will say, in fairness, Elon Musk makes a big point of arguing that he's invited a lot of people, but most of the actual town hall forums have been with Republican officials. If you get in that format, you can go past that word limit, and they went on. And I think politically, when you look at things like this, you say, okay, did this break through in some way in a positive? Are you getting attention for what you said, or are you getting kind of a lot of messy attention for the problems and whatever Musk claimed that somehow it was a technical issue spawned by their opponents? We'd have to look into that and verify that. We haven't been able to do that yet.
So far, yeah.
That's just words. And then the contrast to what you and Joe and Mika and others have talked about, that these rallies on the Harris wall side have broken into the culture. They're large and enthusiastic. They've taken on a momentum of their own. We don't know yet whether all of that will manifest in November. You can be very excited for something in the summer and get tired of it or have a different feeling later. But it is certainly, I think the evidence shows, a measurable increase, not only for the Democratic Party versus Biden, but some of the largest crowds and organic enthusiasm we've seen, also measurable by online metrics, volunteering, and grassroots fundraising, since the Sanders or Obama campaigns. These are high points over 30 years.
Yeah, so, Joe, it remains stunning to me every time we see something like last night or the press conference at Mar-a-Lago last week, when his former advisors, people around him, Republicans who like Donald Trump, said, gosh, if we could just get him to focus on the issues and stop the personal attacks on Kamala Harris. Have you met Donald Trump? Have you been watching our politics for the last decade? It ain't going to happen.
Well, and then you look at the tweet or whatever, the Truth Social about AI-generated crowds, and that's what I'm sure was the final straw for people like Jerry Baker, who wrote in the Wall Street Journal today that you look at his press conference and about a third of it was just bonkers or factually untrue. And yet there continues to be, and this is something I really haven't understood about Donald Trump's political approach from the very beginning. There's just this narrow focus. Once again, there seems to be, Molly, this narrow focus where Donald Trump is playing, in between. I was going to say in between the 45 and the 45-yard lines, but we'll just say at the end. It's very narrow casting. So you do something with Elon Musk, you know exactly what you're going to get, but it's going to be the same people who, a lot of whom actually believe the AI lies and believe the crazy stuff and are already there. And all of this is going to, I suspect, if Kamala Harris wins, I suspect there are going to be a lot of people that are going to be walking around like Pauline Kael famously in 1972 after Richard Nixon won 49 states saying, how could he have won? I don't know a single person who voted for Nixon.
Yeah, I think that this is a really important issue that you're talking about, which is Trump won in 2016 by turning out low propensity voters who were his core base. And they were people that it was very hard to poll for because there wasn't, they just weren't necessarily voters, but they were galvanized by him. Now he has I think he's sort of stuck on that same way of doing it. And so he thinks that maybe he can turn out more of these low propensity voters and there'll be enough. But he never tries to grow the electorate, which is what all other presidents have done or winning presidents have done. So I think that not being uninterested, unwilling, or unable to grow the electorate may hurt him.
Yeah, and his team is suggesting that they're going after young men, white young men, young men of color, and they feel like events like this could lead to that. But at the same time, the rhetoric is surely turning off suburban women and others, and we're seeing it transform in the polls right now. And Ari, I mean, it's got a long way to go to election. And Trump advisors have been telling me and other reporters in recent days, they feel like if this actually gets fought along the issues, immigration, economy, they like their chances. Now, their candidate would have to stick to the issues, and if passes prologue, that's not going to happen. But they think some of the fundamentals still favor them. But right now, the vibes, and we're in a vibes moment right now, all Harris. And I know you've been looking at even just the rallies and the feel around them. That's a real enthusiasm, a pent-up enthusiasm that was ready to burst the surface. The question now is, do they go to the ballot box?
Yeah, and the energy there, and I mentioned Joey talked about is raising the culture. I think that's such a good way to put it. We're all interested in civic life and politics. We think that's great. We tell people in the next generation, pay attention, read, vote. That's great. That's not everybody. Most people in August are not doing that. And so because of the way this happened, how quickly it happened, I think it does show something that can't exactly be faked. We've all been around campaigns. If you have months to do pitching and advance work and you recruit people on, when Quavo and Megan Thee Stallion show up in Atlanta within literal days of when she entered the race, that's because either those relationships are already organically there or they're really enthused. There isn't a third scenario where you had a 5-week outreach campaign. And so I think that is up against what Willie mentioned, which is going on X, going on right-wing streaming. Trump did do Aiden Ross, scored a Rolex. That's a different type of interview format. We don't give out Rolexes here, sorry. But that's, again, this huge contrast. And so the cultural moment there suggests something that is really organic and exciting. And then you have the touch points that, again, I don't know that we're full Obama, but it's definitely some of the Obama vibes. I covered that campaign on the plane. You all were around it. The audience remembers it. Something got bigger and bigger. will.i.am made a song that went super viral, not because somebody phoned it in. And these memes, which touch on themes that we see in the coalition, young people, minorities, women's rights, abortion rights. But, okay, that's the political side. It also just touches on what they call the joy and the Tim Walzification of anything. This is not someone that you would have put in central casting for memes, and yet it's the authenticity and the excitement that's happening, and people are making these. And a lot of what's happening on viral on TikTok, we're seeing people are making stuff because they're excited, and then the campaign very smartly, very quickly will say yes and change a color scheme or tap into it, but they're responding. In my experience, and I've covered this, positive or effective internet campaigns tend to be a dialogue, not a monologue.
And you know, Willie, crowd sizes don't always translate to votes, but we look back to 2008, and it certainly showed that Barack Obama had moved from politics to popular culture. 2016, I remember James Carville talking about driving past the Mississippi Gulf Coast Coliseum in Biloxi and seeing lines of people around there waiting to get in to see Donald Trump 7 or 8 hours before he spoke. And as James said, just so people don't go, oh, it's always just on the left. As James said back then, he said, man, something's happening out there. Like when people are standing around that long, something's happening out there. Same thing that's happening now. Something's happening now when lifelong Republicans are telling me that they and their daughters want to drive 4 hours to see a Kamala Harris, Tim Walz rally. But the key is, do those rallies, do those translate into votes? And there was a big question in 2016 whether those rallies translated into votes, because unlike Barack Obama in 2008, Donald Trump didn't really have a great ground game, right? I will say in 2024, Kamala Harris does have a great ground game because Jen O'Malley started building it for Joe Biden years ago. And that's what she's an expert at, and that's what they've been investing at. And you add that, and then David Plouffe and the other additions to the campaign, chances are good they're going to translate this sort of pop cultural moment into votes in November.
Yeah, the Harris campaign was able to just plug in directly to an existing network and benefit from it and raise extraordinary amounts of money. I have sort of an interesting point of view from this because, as we were talking about earlier, I was just at the Olympics for 3 weeks. The day I left for the Olympics was the day after Joe Biden dropped out of the race. I was supposed to leave a day earlier. He drops out. We stay and do Morning Joe for a couple days, and then I go. It was still very much an open question of whether this experiment, this idea was going to work, of his dropping out. How will Kamala Harris be received within the Democratic Party? Well, we have our answer. Now I'm back 3 weeks later, and I have watched from afar those rallies for 3 weeks. I have watched how Donald Trump has fumbled to try to respond to Kamala Harris now as the Democratic candidate to be president. It's been pretty extraordinary. Again, we're in the middle of August. A lot can happen between now and then. But I think at the very least, Molly, Democrats have what they hoped by making this change, which is a real shot to win. Their hopes were fading under Joe Biden. They knew the age thing was not going away. You weren't going to get these rallies and this enthusiasm from Democrats. And now they at least have that, and they're in the game.